Good morning and happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back to the Fumble Live. We have so much to talk about. COVID is running rampant everywhere, but it's given our boy Isaiah a chance to come back to play in the NBA officially. And Baker Mayfield's a little upset about the new protocols in the NFL. We're going to talk about all that. I love the thumbnail. Isaiah's teeth just look fantastic in that picture, and he looks so happy. That's how I like my Isaiah. But let's get into all that right now. Before we do all that, make sure you hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends. And on this beautiful, rainy, cold Friday, this is the Fumble Squad. I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Jackie Ray TV. I cannot hear you, sir. Is it just
It's your
me?
boy Chris. You can find me everywhere at CK. CK. Sorry about that. I muted because I always be clicking and you hear things over here, so I'm trying to cut that out. But my fault.
I was freaking out. I was like, oh no. Yeah. So how you feeling this morning? How you feeling? I like the Knicks hat. Looks good.
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't even watch the Knicks game last night, but good things happened for my Knicks. I was at the Chargers Chiefs game. I was at the game. Shout out to homie who had some tickets. Yeah, it was crazy. My first ever overtime game. It was dope. Crazy. It was weird but cool at the same time because I don't know if you were hearing about the injury that happened to Parham. He I don't know, he hit the floor and it was crazy. So I'm hoping he's okay. Prayers out to him. But it was a dope game. It was a really cool game. My first time seeing MAHOMES, and unfortunately we got to talk about the other MAHOMES later. But it was cool.
Yeah, we're actually going to talk about that injury a little bit and what we're not going to do. So stay to the end of the show so we could talk about that. But first, let's get into this first need to know news, because you guys know I do not like Baker Mayfield like at all. I used to. It's so weird. I used to really like him, but I don't anymore. But it's not his fault. Kind of. But anyway, he's actually spot on. He's 100% correct in this. So if you haven't heard, COVID it's wrecking shop on the NBA, the NFL. It's just, I feel like every time I get a notification, it's not about anything I really want to hear about. It's about so-and-so has entered COVID protocols. This person, this whole team has entered COVID. You know what I mean? It's just really running rampant. So technically, with all that's going on with the Browns and Raiders game should not happen on Saturday. So they have a lot of people that have entered the COVID protocols. Baker Mayfield in COVID protocols, Keenum's in COVID protocols. They have 4 defenders that are in protocols. They have a coach that's in COVID protocols. They have so many people, so they potentially don't even have a quarterback for Saturday's game. So the game should be postponed. There's just that's the only logical thing to do. But the NFL was like, there's got to be a workaround for this. So I just want to just break this down and just tell you the new protocols, and I'm doing air quotes because they're more like pirate codes at this point. They just they're more like guidelines. They can come and go. But and this is effective immediately. So they've done this specifically because it allowed the Browns, the Rams, and the Washington football team to get players into back out on the field. So let me see. So the testing requirements have changed. So the new protocols relax the requirements. So you don't have to test vaccinated players unless they show symptoms. So basically, if you're not showing symptoms, you can play, and effective immediately if you're not showing symptoms. Because before you had to, if you tested positive, you had to provide 2 negative tests 24 hours apart. So now they're like, no, we're not going to do that if you're vaccinated. And furthermore, if you're vaccinated, we're not even going to test you anymore. So they have gone back to some of their old ways, though, like no more indoor meetings. They can only be remote or outdoor, no more in-person meals, and no outside visits, no outside visitors while the team is traveling. So they've gone back to some of the old ways, but they've implemented these new ways specifically to get players back on the field so they don't have to postpone any games. And Baker Mayfield's like, oh, I'm calling BS on this one. So he tweeted about it. So let me show you some of his tweets about that. This first one was like, NFL, make up your damn mind on the protocols. Showing up and making only 3 teams test, which I told you is the Rams, the Browns, and the Washington football team. So showing up and making 3 teams test. Also, you can keep the games as scheduled to make money. And then he doubled down on this. I feel like he's going to get fined for the way he went in on the NFL. But he says, actually caring about player safety would mean delaying the game with this continuing at the rate it is. But to say you won't test vaccinated players if they don't have symptoms, then pull this randomly doesn't make any sense to me. And then he tells us what happened in this next tweet. He says, tell me if this makes sense. No test this morning. Then you let our team gather for practice. Then you show up after practice to test them. Something seems off here.
Whoa.
Which makes sense because right? Because if you're going to test them, you have to test them before they gather for practice because you don't want them to spread them anything, right? So I don't know what the NFL is doing. I do know he's right. This is 100% a money grab. This is definitely to say, hey, we don't want to cancel these games because that's going to affect our pockets. But why do it so obviously? That's my question. What do you think about all this, Chris?
That's crazy. I didn't know about that till you just said. I don't follow Baker Mayfield. I don't hate him. I just don't follow him. So I didn't know that insight. But that, to me, that just seems like terrible practice. And then it just shows, because we know on top of it, like you said, the NFL is going to do whatever they can to make sure that they crawl their way to the end of the season, and they're not going to try and postpone a season or whatever. They might. I don't even know if they're going to postpone games, because outside of those two teams you just named, the Rams are going to be missing 25 of their players because of COVID protocol, health and safety protocol. You know what I mean? So, to find out that they were able to go to practice without a test, without whatever, go in there and play. Maybe it's because it's still wrong, but maybe it's because they know that they're all vaccinated. I don't know, but that's still the wrong thing. We've been saying that you should be testing regardless, because you can still you can still get COVID, when you're vaccinated. So that's, to me, I feel like testing before makes way more sense than after, or do both, because you're letting them in, spreading whatever they have, if they have it, because you don't know if they have it, and then you have this problem. So I'm 100% with Baker Mayfield on that one. I just don't understand the logic by the NFL, but then again, we're talking about logic and the NFL, and that there's normally not much of that going together. So
right. I mean, and you're basically saying, hey, we know that vaccinated players can get COVID. For the most part, a lot of people are asymptomatic because the vaccine is doing what it's supposed to do. You're fighting it off, but you can still spread it. But the NFL is basically going with this whole don't ask, don't tell situation. Like, if you don't show signs, and that's problematic, because you can still spread it. And then, a lot of people say, well, these guys are young, they're healthy. If they do get it, they can fight it off. True. But a lot of these coaching staff is old. So if you're not testing people before, you could potentially not only be spreading it to your teammates can go home and spread it to their loved ones. You could spread, it doesn't make sense to me. Chris and I have said this from day one, just test everybody all the time.
Should be doing
vaccinated or that would alleviate so much. But to just be this blatantly obvious that you're just doing this for a money grab, I'm trying to see what the chat is saying.
They're talking about Herbert.
Are they talking about?
They're going on about Herbert. They're going,
as you should. That man had an amazing game last night, and the fact that you got to see it in person, I'm low key a little jealous.
That's my guy. There's few players outside of my Saints that I cheer about. Justin Herbert is at the top of the list. But to your point about the COVID thing, like with the testing and how we've been saying this. What makes it even more confusing is, in 2020, when this whole thing was starting, and they were finally, I remember when COVID tests were like a cuisine, a hot commodity. Like, it wasn't, you had to be in to be able to get tested. It wasn't even the vaccine. Like, not everyone could get tested. And now, months and months and months later, now they got COVID tests like you got, bottle of water at a store. Like, they're everywhere. So there's no excuse to me not testing all these players before, after practices and games. Like, I don't understand the thought process, so you can avoid the spread. That's why, even though the NBA is they're not really ahead of it, but they've been trying to do that in some situations. At least I know, but okay, let me take it back. They're not doing it as a whole, but teams are doing that, because I know the Knicks, they are doing it. That's why they're ahead of the game, and they've been catching a lot of these earlier on, when, even though they're what's it called? They're what's the word when you don't have don't have symptoms, but you have COVID. There it is. Even though they're they'll catch it ahead of the time, and then you see what happens. So not all teams are doing that, but I know, because I follow the Knicks, I know that they're one of the teams doing that. To me, it just makes the most sense. In the NFL, if you are the easiest sport to spread, because you are you're tackling each other, constant physical. Like, we don't need to go. We know we know. But I just don't understand why they don't take these steps. And then on top of that, they add the ignorance by, if they are in a situation like the Browns and the Rams that are going into this weekend, they're still not going to cancel the games because NFL. Like, I just don't understand the thought process on all this. But then again, I'm going to keep saying this. when I'm trying to think of logic with the NFL, they just don't go together. Because like you're saying, like everything you said is spot on, and the fact that you have to agree with Baker Mayfield, look at us. It's the end of the world. Like, I just don't understand what's going on.
You know, the funny thing is to me is we know the majority of, well, not the majority, all of the owners are Trump supporters. And Trump said the same thing. I don't know if you remember this at the beginning of 2020 when we had all these positive cases. Trump said, well, if you stop testing people, we won't have as many positive.
Oh, I remember. Yeah.
So they're kind of taking this Trump way. Like, if we stop testing people, we won't have this many positives, which is the most ass backwards way to think. But that's the NFL. So that's all I got for Need to Know News on this fine Friday. Chris, take it away.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Post Up on this fine Friday. What's going on, y'all? The chat, I ain't gonna lie to you, it's been getting. I'm watching my man Pounds and everything versus Kevin Lang. Kevin Lang holding it down because, like I said, Herbie's my guy. And Pounds, you're not wrong. We know that Patrick Mahomes is the guy, but don't you come at my man Justin Herbert. This is his second year, bro. You acting as if Justin Herbert is in the same amount of years as Patrick Mahomes. The fact that we are still comparing the stats to Mahomes and Herbert is impressive. Let it be, man. Let it be. If you a Kansas City fan, I understand that.
And don't forget how he came into the game. Like, he wasn't even supposed to be. He was supposed to be chilling for a year or two.
I'm just saying.
And then it was like, oh, here I come. And he came in there killing it. Y'all better not sleep on my man.
I'm just saying, don't sleep, man. Don't sleep. Yes, he did cool off. I was the ending wasn't great for my man Herbie last night, but I'm just saying, we're talking about the future. Look how this Charger team turned it around. All they needed. I'm just saying.
Patrick Mahomes has had some bad beginnings and endings this season. I'm just saying.
For a guy that, and this is gonna sound like I'm hating, but for a guy that is so talked about and so, blah blah. That dude threw the ball at the dirt a lot yesterday, and it was really confusing. This is my first time watching him live, but when it mattered, he did what he was supposed to do. So I'm not trying. That's what I'm saying. It's not hate. But I just wasn't used to that. I don't know if it wasn't the offense, it wasn't the O-line. He just was missing throws. But I don't know. Either no hate. Patrick Mahomes is great. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying don't be coming after my man Herbie. All right. Don't come after my man Herbie fully loaded. It's not like that. All right, let's go back into this. And yes, if you're there thinking and wondering, is that just Chris trying to buy time while he gets his notes? You're damn right. But the notes are ready to go, and here we are going right into Post Up. And we're starting off with the amazing news of Isaiah Thomas getting signed by a team. Which team? I'll get to that in a second. No, I'm gonna get to it right now. It's the Lakers, because the Lakers right now, we're talking about health and safety protocol and all this nonsense. The Lakers, like my Knicks, like I thought my Knicks were having it bad, but then I found this whole injury report. I don't know what to call it now, health and safety protocol report, but it's also an injury report for them. And they're missing damn near everybody. Everybody on this team. They're limited to 8 players now that are active to play. The Knicks were limited. We were limited to 9 last night. So seeing this, I'm like, golly. So if we can get that first one, Michael Corvo put it out perfectly so you can see exactly what's going on and who is missing. He said Lakers injury report for the Wolves game Friday, which is today, lists that 7 players will be out. 5 in the protocols, plus Ariza and none. That leaves LA with 8 available bodies, the minimum required for a game. The signing of Isaiah Thomas is impending two-way, and Jay Huffin, blah, 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 you know that part. So here's the status report. I need you to understand everything that's going on with the Lakers. And Jackie, I'm sorry. If I had sad violin music, I'd be playing it while I'm reading the injury report. But we have Trevor Ariza still out for that right ankle injury recovery. Avery Bradley, health and safety protocol, 1. Taylor Horn-Tucker, health and safety protocol, 2. Dwight Howard, health and safety protocol, 3. Malik Monk, health and safety protocol, 4. Kendrick Nunn, right knee bone bruise, and y'all need him back. I'm excited to see how he does for you guys. Russell Westbrook, health and safety protocol, that's 5. And then the new ads were Anthony Davis with left knee soreness, and the King, LeBron James, with rectus abdominis strain. They are both probable, so they possibly can be playing. They're both probable. I would say I would think that one of them, knowing the situation, one if not both, will try and tough it out and play through it. Probably LeBron James, because we know Mr. Glass over there is going to make sure that he gets himself healthy. But you know what it is. So with all that going on, and you saw Michael speak on it a little bit there. Shams yesterday and Woj, what yesterday reported that the Lakers went out and signed Isaiah Thomas. Now, if you guys can put the timing together on this, yes, Isaiah Thomas last week confirmed that he was going to the G League. He had his first G League game in which he went absolutely bonkers. You see it right there. Isaiah Thomas is signing with the Los Angeles Lakers. Sources tell blah, blah, blah. Thomas scored 42 points in his J League debut on Wednesday, playing for whatever the Denver Nuggets affiliate team is. He went off. And the thing is, he looked like he was in slow motion. And I don't mean that in the bad way, like they look like they need to retire and they're playing bad. No, it looks like everyone else is there working their ass off, trying to make it to the league. And as Isaiah Thomas is just like steps ahead of everybody. He threw a skip pass. He's just taking shots off of a jog. I'm like, yeah, look, I don't want him on the Knicks because we already got enough size problems at point guard. Love you, Kemba. But I've always believed that Isaiah Thomas, there's a spot for him somewhere. So I really want to see what happens with the Lakers. I don't know if he's going to play right away, Jackie. I'm going to leave that to you to let me know on that. But before we get to that, I want to talk about some of these responses, which are really dope, as you'd expect. You'd have a lot of people responding. Kendrick Perkins, my favorite one, said the Lakers said forget analytics and advanced stats. They went with the eye test and signed Isaiah Thomas. Hands up emoji, prayer emoji, 100, fire. And I was waiting for but carry the hell on. That's what I was waiting for, but he didn't have it. Jamal Crawford, my guy, Jay Crossover says, so happy for my bro, man. Well-deserved IT. It gets funnier from here. My Josiah Johnson saying how Isaiah Thomas walking into the Lakers locker room, and you remember the moment from Cam Newton, I'm back. Yeah, so we see Isaiah Thomas doing that in his first game back. But this one was hilarious because I had a double take. I'm like, why is he in a football jersey? But this is the defensive tackle Isaiah Thomas for the Alabama, Oklahoma. Oh gosh, which red team? Oklahoma, right? Oklahoma. Help me, chat. One of the two red teams. And he put up in a perfect response. Thankful for the opportunity to prove everyone wrong. Let's do this. Now it's funny because this could work as, maybe he tells his boys that he's a hooper and they don't believe him, or he's speaking in the behalf of Isaiah Thomas, because either way it works. Because I'm sure that if Isaiah responded, that's what he would say as well. Or some of his boys looking at him like, boy, you ain't no hooper. And that's how he's responding, saying that he's with the Lakers now. But either way, I thought it was funny. But like I said, Jackie, at the top, just curious with the situation, knowing all those players will be missed. I don't even know, because they did it yesterday, I don't know if he's going to be able to play tonight. I think he should be able to. I think that's enough time for him to pass and the physicals and all that nonsense. But if he is available and able to play, do you see Frank Vogel and the coaching staff inserting him right away into the rotation?
I mean, I'm looking at our depth chart right now, and I think you have to. I think you have a choice. It's out, day to day, out. So Jesus. I think you have to. I mean, honestly, I just don't know. I don't know what you're left with. I mean, because you need to make sure that you have some sort of rotation. And if you don't, then it's just, basically your starters are going to have to play the whole game. So I think you kind of have to. And I think he's going to relish in it, and I think he's going to go off. So I think you have to start him tonight. And it's a good time to start him. Let's just get you in there. Let's see what we're working with. Let's see what we can get you to improve in case we really do need you long-term and down the stretch. Let's get you started right away. So I think you start him tonight.
Yeah. And again, just hit right when I was about to say, I saw Kevin, he said 10-day contract, you have to play him. Yeah, I think that's the scenario right there. And to your point, both of y'all points, like there's nothing else that you have at the point guard position. Orton Tucker, who can run it a little bit, is not going to be playing. LeBron James is probable, but Jackie don't like LeBron playing no point guard, even if they are short on players. You don't want him playing no point guard. Russell Westbrook, Kendrick Nunn. We talked about all your potential. Avery Bradley, all your potential point guards. That's right. Rondo, there you go. Rondo's healthy. And then you can have IT, a combination of the two. One off the bench, obviously, probably would be IT. But yeah, 10-day contract. You let him play, let him prove himself. It's not like he's a scrub because he just put up 42 the other night. And he's been playing. He was playing for USA in the FIBA, just the FIBA games. He was playing with us because normally people don't understand, but we have USA games happening throughout the season. But normally they'll be consisting of like names that you remember that were on your favorite team at one point, but at the bottom of the depth chart, they all come together on the team. Isaiah Thomas went and played with them, and he was playing really well over there. So I think they gave him the shot. Hopefully it works. It doesn't really help their defense problem, but it definitely will help them with offense. So let's see how it goes. I'm excited to see it. I'll be looking at the highlights to see if that happens. So let's see what happens with IT. So we move from that to we're sticking with the Lakers actually, because it looks like after the Austin Reaves clutch bucket. What's that? Oh, you guys didn't see it? Oh, let me show you one more time. This happened 2 nights ago. Check it out.
James doubled, finds Ellington, corner to Westbrook. Final seconds, out to Reaves.
Dime.
Three-pointer, bang!
And one.
Reaves gives him a 3-point lead with 9/10 of a second remaining. No timeouts for
Hype
Dallas.
too, bro.
Bullock from half court.
Yeah. So if y'all didn't see that, I just want to show you guys one time. I'm not even a Laker fan, but it's just, I love seeing, that the unsung hero shine. Shout out to Austin Reaves. So after that shot, we had Dallas fans, Dallas fans. And the best part here was the Dallas fan didn't even, I mean, maybe he did. And, Austin Reaves probably don't read his DMs. Austin Reaves don't even look like he have a social media. But this Dallas fan was so salty and so upset that he went to his brother to make sure that he heard how he felt. Oh, he's so upset. It was just so much sodium in this message. He went to him and he said, "Your brother sucks. Lucky ass shot." But my man, Spencer Reaves, his brother, with the perfect response. With my man Chucky, with the L on a piece of paper, saying, "Hold this." Imagine getting burned this bad by not the guy that hit the buzzer beater, but his brother. And then on top of that, still knowing your team lost. Yeah, I didn't catch the name on it. I know, do I care the name? I'm gonna need you to go and just sit in your corner and read that piece of paper for a little bit longer, because that's an ultimate L. Ultimate L. I love that comeback though. Nice and simple. And even when Spencer tweeted out the back and forth, I don't even know if you want to call that the roasting, if we will. He put the crying emoji, just telling the man, just cry, keep crying, cry. I love it. I love a good comeback, and I think that was a good one right there. So shout out to Spencer Reaves. Good moment. So from that good moment to a emotional and rather stupid moment. Florida. The caption, y'all stupid. I just like that. Florida man burns his Deion Sanders jersey. Like that's perfect. Yeah, it just idiocracy just going on down in Florida, man. So this dude decided that he was going to burn his Deion Sanders jersey. If we can get that first tweet up, so I can read that. According to Connor Toole, he says angry FSU fans are really out here burning an autographed Deion Sanders jersey without even taking it out of its frame first. Yes, the jersey is there burning. This is absolutely stupid. And I have the background story because the person who did the burning actually posted, I think it's on Facebook, strike one right there. Or maybe it's on Twitter. It is Twitter. Okay, I almost came after you because I thought she was on Facebook. Nothing wrong with Facebook. I just don't like Facebook. So he tweeted it himself. Daniel J. Grant. This is his jersey and his decision to burn it in frame. And this is his reasoning. Chad and Jackie, let me know if this is a good enough reason. He said, my most prized possession of all my FSU memorabilia was Deion was my childhood hero. I hope they never allow him back on campus. FSU should immediately unretire his number as well. He has never given a damn dime back to the school, so no one should really be surprised. Now, my curiosity was this. I was trying to find the timestamp on this. I didn't, so if you guys know when this guy posted it, let me know. And my thought process was, I think he was salty because of what, man, his name is escaping me, but because of old boy that we talked about yesterday deciding to go and join Deion Sanders and his school. And one of the schools that he burned was none other than Deion Sanders college, MSU. So he's just feeling a type of way, and he feels like Deion Sanders should be helping him. Like, I know you're coaching, but you should be helping our team be better. You never give back. So I don't know if that's the story. I didn't look enough into it, but that is just my initial assumption. And I think he was just that upset that now they got the star-studded cornerback that's going to help them go further, and he burned his team. See what I did there? Burned his team FSU because he burned the jersey. But I don't know. Maybe there's a different reason behind it. That's just my conspiracy on it. The story might have been confirmed. But Jackie, do you think that is a pretty solid guesstimate hypothesis?
Yeah. So you're right, because Travis Hunter. Pretty sure it's Travis Hunter. He was that was one of the schools he was supposedly considering. I can't remember from the video yesterday if that's one of the hats he tossed aside. I can't remember because I know
he talked about it, but I don't think he had a hat. He said he was talking about how he was considering FSU, but he didn't have one. He didn't have a hat of it. He said it in the video.
So he said he was considering it, and so so the thing is like FSU is not a historically Black school, so get over it. I don't know what else to tell you.
And I love how he brings it as his Deion Sanders' fault. I mean, it is because, I mean, Deion Sanders recruited him and, you know, but at the same time, like, bro, really? Emotional Florida, bro. Like, that's emotional.
And you're an idiot because you could have got so much. I mean, sell it at bare minimum, put it on eBay or Amazon. You could have got so much money for that. So clearly, if you went to FSU, you did not graduate with honors because that was really dumb.
Stupid. What are honors at FSU? I'm gonna leave that alone. Let me stop. Let me not be like that. Let me not be that guy. Anyways, but I also have another conspiracy that I feel like, because if you look at that, even the frame at its worst, it still didn't look that bad. I feel like he put out the fire, and he knew that he was gonna sell the jersey after. I don't know. Like, you see how it's just like fogged up. I thought it was
green screened. When I saw it, I thought it was.
Yeah, right. It doesn't look real, right? Yeah.
Right. I thought he green screened it in.
But I don't know. Maybe I'm giving you the benefit of that. It's still stupid regardless, even if you did do that and then you try to take it out after the fact. It's still stupid. But yeah, I agree with you. Absolutely dumb. Makes no damn sense. We're moving off of that. But yeah. So from one idiot, we go to another. You guys heard me talk about Patrick Mahomes and how I did not want to talk about his unfortunate brother. Well, here we are. We're at that point of the post-up where we talk about idiots. We talked about Tweedledee number 1. Now we talk about Tweedledee number 2. But the thing I love about this is I don't have to waste any time burning this kid because this lounge, in Kansas City did the work for me because they absolutely murdered him in the nicest apology, or I'm not going to use apology. I mean, they call it apology, but there's no damn apology. So basically, the long story short, Jackson Mahomes, I guess he had posted on whatever social media, whether it was TikTok, I don't know which one it was, and he went on there talking nonsense about this lounge that he was at, and you know, people are impressionable, so they saw that and they thought the place was bad, and then the poor lounge was getting criticism along the way. Well, SOTKC decided to respond, and they did it so eloquently. They posted on IG saying it's time to have a talk. Today, we are experiencing a lot of activity over social media regarding a recent visit paid to us by an unhappy guest. This person happens to have a lot of followers on social media, and therefore it is something that we cannot ignore. Voice, reach, and influence are power. In our case, and with many businesses that are locally owned, the power of a few social media personalities can make or break that business. This grants these people this certain power to affect our livelihoods. There are those who have built their influence by being responsible, informed, positive, and sincere. Next slide, please, Leo.
Wait for it.
There it is. All right. There it is. There are also those who have built their followings by being the opposite. That being said, we have some apologies to make, meaning we have a roast from Mr. Jackson Mahomes. He says, "Dear Jackson Mahomes, we are sorry that," I have to read these because you need to understand how this is great. "Dear Jackson Mahomes, we are sorry that we set boundaries that you tried to ignore. Oftentimes people with unearned status and a sense of entitlement think that they are above the rules and will lash out at the employee enforcing them. We are sorry we could not seat your very large group. As you probably saw, our bar is very small. We are sorry that you have the reach that you do, or at least that you think you do, and I love that part, and that instead of using it for something positive, you decided to use it to try and crush a small business. We survived a global pandemic. We'll survive your ego." You have the button jack. Like, that's what we need right there. Boom. Explosion there. Take it. "We are sorry you didn't reach out to us first before taking to social media. But then again, that is an expectation we would have from a mature and rational person, not someone who pours water on fans and dances on the memorials of tragically lost people for TikTok clout." Bring the button back. "We have not been fortunate enough to be born into a much more talented and much more famous family, but we would like to think that if we have that much luck, we would use our influence in more responsible ways. We hope our apology finds you well." And I'm sure it did. This thing went viral. I didn't see any responses from Jackson Mahomes. And shout out to the people that were sharing this out, were a lot of the local folks. I guess apparently this is a very popular local spot in Kansas City, and a lot of locals that really enjoy this place were pissed off that they were getting criticism from people who don't know anything about it, don't know anything about this place because they live out of town, but because Jackson Mahomes decided to, as they said, say negative things about them on social media. You know, a lot of impressionable little kids are going to see this, and their favorite little TikTok, I don't know how you'd be your favorite, is upset with the place. So now you're upset too. You're going to go on Yelp and you're going to go all these places and make sure you spread hate to hurt their business. So shout out to the locals that were doing their best on social media to make sure that people know, nope, he's an idiot. This place is good. Yep. And then on top of that, shout out to the place itself to go out there and do this the way that they did. They also sent out a second one to explain the project. I don't want to read that because I don't feel like an explanation was necessary. We're not Karens over here. I think what you did was perfectly fine. Yeah, I hope this helped out y'all's business to get back on track. But Jackie, thoughts?
Nailed it. I can't stand this kid. And he's not a kid. What is he, like 20, 19, 20? I can't stand him. I don't know. I don't like him at all. I think he is a born-again idiot, and I think he's an embarrassment. And I think that Patrick Mahomes should ban him from his games. I mean, he probably can't because his wife is not too far from his brother, and he can't ban her. So the whole family, which is why Patrick's always been suspect to me, the whole family, something just not right. It's not right.
Right.
I'm sorry.
That's the thing I don't understand. Like and the thing is, I can speak on it because I have a brother that is doing very well on TikTok. But the thing is, he uses his TikTok he does good stuff over there. He has 2 million followers on his TikTok. And I'm not saying I'm Patrick Mahomes, but yeah, he's doing his thing. I'm not saying I'm Patrick Mahomes, but I'm saying like, if there's a way that his business, his, fame and his whatever could affect me, and not just me, himself. I'm stepping in and saying like, yo, this content, I'm glad you're getting views, but this content is not looking well for you. I have no problem saying that to him. So I don't understand why Patrick Mahomes is just like, I get, let them be themselves, but still be an older brother and know when to step in. Like, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, Pat. I just don't understand why you have not. That's my only thing with this entire thing. Because I would have said something a long time ago. Like, bro, that's not a good look. That's not, why are you this way? You're there. You're here because of me. Like I'm saying something. I'm your brother. Like we have that kind of relationship. But I don't know. That's just my beef with the entire thing. That's like you just said. That's the one thing I'm looking at Patrick Mahomes like you just letting this go. Like you just gonna act like know if you say nothing, it's not gonna affect you. Like what? I don't know. That's just my only beef with it. From a brother to a brother. That's all I'm saying. But Jackie Ray, that's all I got here for Post Up on this Friday. Can you send us home? Well, what we not gonna do?
Yes, you guys, this one is a sad one. We've had fun with what we're not going to do this entire week. We're going to get a little bit serious here because what I'm not going to do is gloss over this. And I actually did. I actually saw this headline regarding Vincent Jackson, and I read the article, but it's one of those kind of catch-22s for me personally because I love football so much. I grew up on football. I come from a very football house. I was the little girl outside playing football with my brothers and my dad. So it's my life. So sometimes it really does hurt my feelings to realize what a deadly detriment that this is going to be for a large chunk of people who play this game. So last night, and I'm going to break this down a little deeper than I usually do because I want you guys to kind of see, because I couldn't medically explain this to you properly. So I found someone who could. So last night, like Chris alluded to earlier, we saw the moment when the tight end, Donald, what's his last name? Donald Parham. He went Parham. Thank you. Donald Parham went down. And it was one of those things because I started watching the game late. And so when I saw they were already replaying it because it was like way after they had gotten him off the field.
The very beginning of the game.
It happened. Yeah, super beginning. And I didn't even start watching until like probably late in the first quarter. So they had replayed it a couple of times. And I was like, damn, what happened? Because it didn't look that bad to me because we are so used to talking about that helmet to helmet is what's causing all this CTE. That is obviously not correct. So if you didn't see it, if you're like me and you didn't see it, let me show you this moment in time when Donald went down and then he's knocked out and then his arms go stiff. So take a look.
Well, Herbert protected, end zone caught, and now the ball comes out incomplete. the tight end, Donald Parham, and he's hurt.
So again, I didn't watch it. There was a couple of doctors I saw on Twitter that were kind of dragging Joe Buck. I don't know what he said following this.
Oh
but,
yeah, Joe Buck. Yeah. Oh,
what did he say?
Sorry.
No, what did he say? Because
he was trying to shake it off because he was shaking a little bit when he was stunned. Like Parham was shaking a little bit, and then Joe Buck was on there talking about like, I don't want to speak medically, but normally in Los Angeles it's typically really warm, but tonight it is a brisk night. It's about 45 degrees, so that could play a factor into why he's shivering. I was just like, no. You cannot say that. So yeah, he's been getting dragged all over social media since he said that comment. Okay. It's crazy.
Because I mean, so, and this doctor that I'm going to show you now specifically, he didn't like drag him, but he was like, from a professional standpoint, as a commentator who's been calling the game for however long, you should never try to downplay CTE. Yeah. So the doctor kind of explains that the reason why his arms went stiff like that is because his brain is shut down. So that's like an immediate sign. It's called fencing. Like you're holding on to the fence. That means your brain is like, nope, we're done. And so it shuts down, which is terrifying when you think about the brain shutting down. So I want you to kind of hear him explain this situation. So take a listen.
This whole sequence is an important lesson to the fact that we truly can't judge the severity of a concussion or a head injury just based on how hard there's helmet-to-helmet contact or how hard somebody gets hit. As Parham is going to the ground here, basically his head snaps backwards and you get this whiplash type effect where the brain goes from being relatively stable in the skull to then all of a sudden as the head hits on the turf, now the skull is stationary, the brain is still moving, and so the brain is rotating, moving backwards, basically sloshing up in the spinal fluid and contacting the inside of the skull, distributing this high impact force throughout the brain.
Yeah, so just hearing him describe that really kind of triggered me because, like I said, most of us when we talk about head injuries or the possibility of getting CTE, most of us are talking about those really hard helmet-to-helmet hits, which we can point those out specifically, and they don't happen all the time. But when we see this man was not hit, his head hit the ground. Although not everyone has that concussion moment where they black out and then they have that fencing moment where their body goes stiff, we see falls and hits. Either you're running into another person like that and we've seen somebody's head go back. We've seen somebody hit the ground this way, that way. Like we've seen every single play, we see more than a few players have some sort of movement where now based on what the doctor is saying that their head is stationary, but their brain is still moving. And we know that's a problem. So I wanted to make sure we talk about that because this isn't going to be, remember, CTE cannot be diagnosed until you're dead. So that brings me to Vincent Jackson. So Vincent Jackson is a former Chargers and Bucks wide receiver. And if you remember, his family had said he had gone missing back in February, ended up finding him and found out he had killed himself. So obviously they did the test. He had stage 2, which is like one of the worst forms of CTE. They found out immediately. So with that, he had, he couldn't really function too well because he couldn't do problem solving. And so one of the things that I read that I found so interesting is like when we say problem solving, we think like he's out here doing math problems. No, like telling your mind, okay, I need to make sure that when I walk out the door, I need to close and lock it. That's like basic problem solving that he wasn't able to do anymore. He was having memory loss. He was paranoid, which all of this made him want to isolate and not be around people because he just wasn't functioning properly, which obviously played into his paranoia. And then he took his life. So for me, I have not seen any, and there might be some, I'm not going to say that there's not, but I haven't seen one sports show that I watch religiously talk about the findings regarding Vincent Jackson. And I think it's because of the reason why I started this is because we all know this is coming for a lot of people. This has come for a lot of people. 99% of football players, once they are tested after they die, have CTE. 99%. That, and the other 1% probably weren't tested, if we're being honest about it. So it's one of those things where as much as I love the game, I would never put my child in football because the money just does not. This man was 38 years old. His wife started talking about it like the moment he hit 30, things started getting bad. And then it just got progressively worse, where he thought people were trying to get him. And she's trying to raise awareness about this now. But this is coming for a lot of the people that were in the chat talking about this person's better, it's coming for a lot of people. The only person it's probably not coming from is Tom Brady, because nobody hits that man ever. But everybody else, it's probably going to come for in some way. And the NFL goes above and beyond to kind of cover it up. And to know that Joe Buck was kind of blaming it on the fact that he might be cold versus calling it what it really is, just shows you the extent to which the NFL is going to go to cover this up. And they don't even care about something as basic as COVID. They're trying to get people who've got COVID out on the field. We really got to call out the NFL for this BS. I personally have always agreed with Mark Cuban, at some point the NFL is going to go away, and this is why. If you don't address the elephant in the room, the elephant's just going to grow. And this is heartbreaking to me. My thoughts and prayers are with that. That has to be so tragic to know that the thing that brought him so much joy and helped him take care of his family ultimately is what killed him. And we just have to bring more attention to it. So that's all I have to say about that. Chris, do you have any thoughts?
No, I'm still on the video. That's crazy. But yeah, to all those points, yeah, and when you said that's when I didn't hear the Mark Cuban quote when it came out. I remember you brought it up when you probably first got here, is when I first heard you talk about it. And it's true, because it's gonna keep getting blanketed by the NFL, I guess by broadcasters as well, until, and I hate to say this and I don't want to make anybody upset, but until it hits like one of your favorite players, like a star player, is when it happens to one of these new millennium star players. When it happens there, that's when it's going to be one of those things where they're going to have to start taking it serious. And that's so sad that as a society, that's how we are. Like we're just going to keep saying no, it's not, I don't know what you're talking about, no, and then when it happens, then that's when you have to take it serious. So the whole thing is sad. For those who are curious, as of right now, the latest report, Palm he's in stable condition, still in the hospital. But he's stable now. But yeah, that whole thing was scary. It was really weird. You can just tell that it was different. It wasn't like a normal like card off kind of situation. It was really eerie and really different. It reminded me a lot of in a different instance, obviously, but it reminded me a lot of Ryan Shazier of the Steelers.
Oh yes,
how that just was a different injury, and it was just scary. Yeah. So and like you saw, like from in quick time, it just looked like he fell. So all of us, we were just like, the hell happened? Like, what did he snap his head? Like, what happened? Like, what's going on? Why is he like down for that long? We thought it was just like he lost his wind and he was gonna get back up and move on. But he carted off. But then when I saw the slow motion, that's why you heard me react. That's the first time I saw his head snap back and hit the field. I didn't see that. I didn't know that's what went on. So yeah, man, it's a serious issue that they're trying to avoid. But hell, look at how they're treating COVID right now. So I don't know, man. NFL, again, they don't use common sense, and we know this.
Right. Kevin Lang in the chat, he says, whatever happened to the lawsuit about CT and the Blacksburgs? So the NFL has decided, y'all, that's still jacked up. The NFL has decided to retest the black players, because if you remember that story, they were testing black players, and black players had to test way, way lower than white people, because they said that we as black people just have a lower mental capacity just out the womb. Bastards that they are. But anyway, so the NFL said, okay, maybe that was wrong of us to do. We'll retest you. The problem with that, the reasons why I need these black people to stay the course, is because the NFL is going to retest them with the same doctors that tested them under that jacked up status anyway. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that one as well. But that's all the time we got. I'm ready to start my weekend. I know it's a depressing way to start the weekend, but
that was a sad way to start it. But yeah, for sure.
But I had to address it because I personally, like I said, I glossed over it myself. So if I'm doing it, I know the NFL is doing it because it's a money grab for them. So just had to make sure I did my due diligence, and you guys should do yours as well. Have a fantastic and safe weekend. I think it's going to rain through the weekend for us here in LA. Is it, Chris? Is it going to rain the whole weekend?
I know it's going to be cold as hell. I don't know about rain, though. I know it's going to be cold, though. Cool.
It is cold as hell. So y'all be safe out there. We will see you Monday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Be safe.
Bye.
Bye.